All right, reports surfaced yesterday that a group of the game's most senior players were so upset by the lack of consultation with the NRL over key issues that moves were being made to oust ARL Commission Chairman Peter V'landys. The suggestion that V'landys' position could be under threat led to a heated debate between Paul Kent and RLPA boss Clint Newton yesterday on Triple M.
Why are you looking to now have Peter V'landys removed? Why such an extreme action?
I'm not about overthrowing people. The players are not wanting to control the game. We are about securing the best outcomes for the game, players, clubs and fans.
Well, if you're securing best outcomes, why would you want V'landys removed?
That's the whole point, Paul, is the fact that that's been said, but that's not what we need to focus on.
What do you need to focus on then?
Well, this is about, working through a process, and ensuring that we have a genuine and respectful opportunity to have dialogue in advance of any...
Just let's leave the corporate talk alone and tell us the nitty-gritty. I don't want, outcomes and all that sort of rubbish. Just tell us what he has done that has upset the players so much.
Well, this isn't about any one particular decision. We've got to this point, really, is that it all goes away if there's a choice to communicate and engage with us more respectfully and listening to players.
So how many more weeks were the players prepared to cop concussions while you sat down and negotiated what was always going to be the outcome anyway, that you're not allowed to tackle high? No,
Paul, you just sort of took it back to there. As I said, it's not about any.
Well, this is what's driving it, though, Clint. This is what's driven it.
Paul, I know you're on radio, and I know.
Don't talk to me like that, Clint. Don't talk to me like that.
No, what I'm saying, Paul, is
just answer the question instead of all this corporate gobbledygook that you're spruiking. Tell us in real terms what the problem is.
We've had this conversation before, right, about you not allowing people to speak. And if you're going to get me on the show...
Well, say something. Say something. Don't sit there and talk all this stuff that people need a manual to figure out what you're saying.
But this is the problem, Paul. Emotion takes control, like you are right now. Let me speak, and then we can work through it. Players are not wanting to control the game. They're not wanting to have have a massive overthrow, because that's not what our business is about. That's not how our organisation runs.
That was intense.
It was a bit of fun. It was all right. I was good.
Why so fired up?
You're an angry man, Kenty. You're an angry man.
I'm not an angry man. I just don't want to be treated. I don't want to be spoken to like I'm a child. The fact that all this you're on radio bullshit. Honestly, just it was a simple question. What has he done wrong? The fact is, the answer is that they don't want to say is that he didn't consult them.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
Not only what has he done wrong, but do you want to I collective,
which he talked around in.
Odd NRL players.
Look, I would like to have had him on
Peter
tonight.
V'landys gone.
I would like to have had him on tonight, but unfortunately it's an hour-long show and we haven't got the time to finally try and dig down to an answer.
Kenty,
that's the problem. You never get a straight answer.
Do you agree the players deserve a voice in rugby league?
I think they deserve a very small voice in some matters.
Right. Well, this isn't just about the high tackle crackdown. It's about new rules, it's about fatigue.
I get that.
And James, I heard you say yesterday that Peter V'landys has got points in the bank. Why don't you consider that because he saved the game from COVID? Well, the players lived in a bubble for 12 months.
Buzz?
Let me finish. The players took serious pay cuts.
6%?
Yeah. While more clubs than ever before made profits.
Companies got shut down last year. People lost their jobs completely last year. So don't give me a sob story for the players taking a 6% pay cut.
I think, look,
a lot of people lost their jobs last year. Let's get the. If you want to get the reality, let's get the reality.
I'm just saying they played their part in saving the game.
Of course they did.
They did, right?
Of course they did.
And look, can I say one other thing? And I don't want to start an almighty blue. I think you too aren't showing players the respect in all areas that maybe you could. I thought you were really heavy last week on the Canberra halfback, George Williams.
Well, I don't care what you think.
No, well, I know you don't care what I think, but I'll make that point. You don't seem to be as invested in players.
Because he's homesick and wants to go home, so Canberra fast-tracked and said, well, instead of waiting to the end of the year, you can go now. Gave him what he actually wanted. And he's still
I've been heavy on him. Can I bring it back to this issue, please? I need to understand how legitimate the threat is from the players to unseat Peter V'landys.
Well, they won't talk to it.
I don't think it is legitimate, Kenty.
They're all backtracking.
I put something in my column. There was unrest. They're not happy, but no player has said to me any indication they want Peter V'landys out.
There is no question that some very senior players in the game have spoken to Danny Weidler and have told him that they are considering this plot to try and overthrow Peter V'landys. And I've got to say, Buzz,
but none of them will out themselves.
That does shock me.
Well, why hasn't someone put a name to it?
Well, players have. I mean, Daly Cherry Evans was the one who was identified over the course of the last 24 hours.
Well, you're saying Daly Cherry Evans wanted V'landys out.
also been mentioned as well.
I have not heard them say they want Peter V'landys out. I have not heard that.
Cherry Evans spoke to it
just because
you
don't know doesn't mean it didn't happen. Danny Wyther wrote the story.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I've said no one's put their name to it. So you don't know they did say it?
Well, I trust Danny Wyther.
Yeah, well...
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he goes and makes up a story.
It would seem that for whatever reason the players are aggrieved, so much so that some of the game's most senior players are talking about this. Whether or not it's actually real or going to happen remains to be seen. But the last thing we want to end up is a game at war with itself.
Exactly.
So on both sides, would it be fair to say that the chairman and the playing group can be better? And if so, how?
Look, I think I don't disagree with the fact that there needs to be at different points a little bit of a testing ground as far as these new rules, rather than just boom, this is what we're doing.
Because this was a fundamental change.
That's what I agree with Kenny, 100%.
So this was a fundamental change to how the game gets played. It deserved more than one or two emails and Wayne Bennett getting a phone call, I think, and that was
this Wayne Bennett business. He was blowing up a month ago. I wrote the quote down when Latrell Mitchell went for a high tackle. The loudest critic about that high tackle was Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, and the loudest critic about Wayne Bennett's always you, Buzz.
No, do you know what he said? This borders on the ridiculous and unfair. I've never seen a player done over like he has been done over. And that was for chop to the head.
Oh, now he's changed tack. It was a love tap, Phil. But not only that, I mean, you've got to declare... You've got an oar in the water in relation to Wayne. You two haven't spoken for years.
No, well, that's where you're wrong, James. You haven't done your homework. I saw him at Anthony Mundine's farewell press conference.
Talking to him?
We shook hands, and I've since sent him a text message which I replied to. Okay. So it's got nothing to do with...
This is a safety issue, to Peter V'landys' point. The players have agreed, Clint Newton has agreed, that they were going to arrive at this point anyway for player safety. I don't see why they feel they needed to be sitting at the table when a decision was made. For 10, 12 years, this game was run by consultants and committee meetings. We had nobody making a decision. We finally got a chairman come in, and for no other reason than the health and safety of the players. There's not a dollar to be earned out of this for the NRL. No. The best thing, if the players want to be the grown-ups here, they want to be the grown-ups in this conversation, just this once, they say, you know what, we didn't appreciate the way you've gone about this, but we're going to cop it and we're actually going to toe into line. Instead, you've got players coming out saying, we know the risk we're taking, get rid of this crackdown.
You know when players recently complained, Ben Hutt and a few others, about the speed of the game, about fatigue? The NRL put a press release out, said the game's not fast, you don't get fatigued. How would they know?
Well, the fact was,
I agree with you on that one.
The fact was, these rules were changed, though, to actually bring in fatigue, because we were continually playing with completely fit...
You are right. The players are right. But this is what's happening inside the game. Everybody's fighting to be right. And the only people looking on right now and laughing at us are the AFL, because we're at war with ourselves. So the job now for the chairman and the Players Association, all the other stakeholders in the game on this very important position, is to get aligned
on the players, Ben. On the players, and the players, to borrow one of your favourite terms, are key stakeholders. Right? They're hugely invested. They're the stars of the show. On the innovation committee of the NRL last year were Luke Keary, Damien Cook, Craig Bellamy, Ricky Stewart. Now, all of those people ticked off on a hell of a lot of the lion's share of the rule changes that we have seen this year. All of those people ticked off. So I find it hypocritical that the players suggest that they weren't consulted.
Are you giving me this to hit James with?
No, be careful.
Careful.
Fair ratings bonanza.